As far as iconic musicians are concerned, we obviously all know the big ones. Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, the list goes on. Of course, Prince is also a legendary musician who's managed to forge his own legacy through his own feats in music. Many people know that Prince is incredibly talented, but not that many people know how talented he actually is. He can basically play every single instrument there is. Hello! Welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and yes, today we're talking about Prince of all people. And the title is a little bit exaggerated. I mean, he can't play every single instrument. Because of course the triangle is an incredibly difficult instrument to master, but he's well on his way. He can truly play many different instruments. So, to find out why this is the case, we have to go back to a young Prince, or otherwise known as Prince Rogers Nelson, who was born on the 7th of June 1958 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was born to a jazz singer, pianist and songwriter. So, as you can imagine, Prince had a lot of exposure to music in his life from his very, very early days, in particular because his parents were so heavily involved in music. As a matter of fact, Prince's parents were both part of a jazz group called the Prince Rogers Trio, with the father naming his son after his stage name. He even went on to say that he did this because he wanted his son to do everything he wanted to do. However, a young Prince was not too keen on this and didn't like the name Prince, so he asked people to call him Skipper, of all things. Skipper. You could have been called Prince, but you decided to call yourself Skipper. I have no idea where he got that idea from, but hey, it stuck. So, even though the first opportunity to name his son Prince was a swing and a miss, his love for music stuck, and he was heavily influenced by his father, who really encouraged him to pursue his passions. When he was in high school, Prince was trained in classic ballet, wrote his first song on the piano at the age of 7, and even picked up a guitar at quite a young age. Throughout Prince's childhood, he certainly had a lot of exposure to creative talent, musicians and instruments that allowed him to craft his abilities and would eventually go on to put him in the position he would be in the future. This musical talent and breadth was recognised by songwriter and producer Jimmy Jam in the early 70s when he first met Prince as a fellow junior high student. Impressed with his early and extensive ability to use a wide range of instruments, he first noticed this talent during a music class and said the following. There was a keyboard room set up, and the teacher would give you London Bridge or Mary Had a Little Lamb and ask you to learn it. When she'd leave, we'd put on the headphones and rip through these keyboards. I was always blown away by his talent level. I didn't want to get behind the drum set again. He was nuts. That was my awakening to his talent and genius. That's pretty impressive, and I remember being in music class where every single lesson we would go on the keyboards, and the only thing we did was press the DJ button and then just started pressing the keys randomly. I've got music talent somewhere, deep down. Jimmy Jam commented on the fact that at first he was intimidated by Prince and his musical prowess, but would go on to bond, and eventually they would tour together once both of their music careers kicked off. This would be a precursor to the true extent of Prince's talents. The husband of Prince's cousin formed a band in 1975 called 94 East, where Prince was hired to help record tracks. Prince contributed to the tracks on guitar and co-wrote one of their songs, Just Another Sucker. This would really be the first leap in where Prince would create his first demo track, and oh boy, was it a demo track. And well, to cut long story short, that would eventually lead to Prince being signed by Warner Brothers. Yes, that Warner Brothers. He was getting in with the real deal. What was even more spectacular about this was not only had he managed to get a record deal with Warner Brothers, but that deal allowed Prince complete creative control over his own work, and he also even retained the publishing rights for his music, which is a pretty good deal, to say that there's some musicians that get absolutely screwed over in that regards. Which I guess is a lesson to everyone. If you give creative and talented people the space and time they need to craft their thing, whatever that may be, then more likely than not, they're going to come out with an absolute gem. Prince left Minneapolis to move to California for the recording of his first full studio album. This album would be named For You. This is going to be where Prince could truly demonstrate the full extent of his musical ability at such a young age. The album notes for this album states that Prince wrote, produced, arranged, composed, and played all 27 instruments on the recording of this album. Yes, you heard that correctly, 27 instruments. My God. I mean, I can barely play one instrument, let alone almost 30. Yes, he played pretty much everything, with the exception of the song Soft and Wet, whose lyrics were co-written by his producer Chris Moon. There is also an apparent uncredited contribution for Patrice Rushen, who reportedly played keyboards on the song Baby, which also had string arrangements by Charles Veal, but aside from them, everything else for the entire album was done by Prince. Yeah, he really took that creative freedom thing and just ran with it. He clearly had a vision, so just leave him to it, I guess. Now, the album notes do outline the instruments that he did, and, well, I'm about to throw a list at you, so you best be ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the instruments that Prince played on the album. Electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass, bass synth, singing bass, fuzz bass, electronic piano, acoustic piano, mini moog, poly moog, ARP string ensemble, ARP pro soloist, Oberheim 4-voice, clavinet, drums, sine drums, water drums, slapsticks, bongos, congas, finger cymbals, wind chimes, orchestral bells, wood blocks, brush tap, tree bell, hand claps and finger snaps. That's a lot. I mean, some of those I have no idea what they even are, but finger snaps and hand claps? I guess I can play 2 instruments now. Soft and Wet reached number 12 on the Hot Soul Singles chart and number 92 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song Just As Long As We're Together reached number 91 on the Hot Soul Single chart, which of course would be the start of a long and illustrious career as one of music's most iconic and recognisable artists of a generation. Prince's musical talents would of course lead him to famous run-ins, playing guitar and being a songwriter for Madonna. He sang a duet with Kate Bush and wrote the classic song Kiss, who Tom Jones popularised. Stevie Wonder had the following to say about Prince and his musical ability, which nicely sums him up. He was a great musician, he loved music, he loved playing his instrument. The times that we did jam together were amazing, with all of the various people that he would bring together, and most of all, he brought all the various cultures together. He could play classic music if he wanted to, he could play jazz if he wanted to, he could play country if he wanted to. He played rock, he played blues, he played pop, he played everything, and was very cognizant of what his responsibility was as a musician and a human being. So yes, a man of many talents, and had fingers in many pies, or fingers on instruments, some might say. But regardless, his music is timeless, and of course, will go down as a legend in the music world. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. Is now the time that I get the guitar, just for the video, because we're doing a music related topic? No, you know what? I'll save that for a rainy day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.